All right, everyone, we have a very special guest, David Meltzer. We actually got a chance to go on his podcast, I think last year before this whole nightmare started. And we actually got a ton of feedback from our listeners because they all listen. A lot of them listen to your podcast already or watch your videos or watch your content. So thank you so much for having us. For those of our listeners who don't know who you are, you have a very fascinating background. Could you give us a little background before we dive in? I have some funny questions to ask you.
Yeah, right on. Well, I've been an entrepreneur since I graduated law school and started selling legal research on the internet. My first company we sold in 95. That's 1995. For $3.4 billion, traveled my way up to the Silicon Valley, learned my superpower of raising money. I raised hundreds of millions of dollars in the wireless proxy server space, which is transcoding the internet onto WAP or XML telephones, and then ended up somehow becoming the CEO of the world's first smartphone. But I'm so old, it was 1999, and they called smartphones convergence devices because it converged a computer and a phone and a Palm Pilot all in one. That was their idea. And eventually, as a VC angel investor, I became CEO of the world's most notable sports agency, a place called Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment, most notable for the movie Jerry Maguire. Warren Moon, the Hall of Fame quarterback, was my partner there. And we spun off over a decade ago, a marketing and media company called Sports One Marketing. But the last 3.5 years, I've built my own brand. I have, as you said, The Playbook, one of the top entrepreneur podcasts. I have Elevator Pitch, the top digital business show, movies, TV. I do books, speaking, and really have built kind of my own content in this modern day new wave media. I wanted to prove you could brand anything. So I picked the most difficult thing in the world, myself, and have branded myself for the last 3.5 years to prove anybody can build an audience.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what I think is most fascinating for me is that you operated a business and worked at a time which was very, very different from now. And don't take this the wrong way, but most people your age have been left behind, frankly, on what's happening in the digital revolution. I think that's also been part of the political divide in the country, is that we've seen this massive creation of wealth in the last decade, and a lot of older Americans have been left behind from it, right? They didn't evolve their skill sets. And I think it's admiring to see what you've done from a skill set and just evolving, and like you surround yourself with great young people. And what I really wanted to pick your brain on today was, how do you saw the 90s, you saw early 2000s, and you saw there's something coming out right now potentially on Dan Snyder and the Redskins. We talked about that today. And there's no surprise for people like us who started our business on the fringe of that world, where we got to see a glimpse of it, and then all of a sudden it all got shut down. But how do you reconcile in your head what happened 30 years ago, and then how people are trying to run a business today? I'd love to hear your background on that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I was super excited to talk about it. Obviously, even knowing Dan Snyder, not only as the owner of the Redskins, but with Manugistics early on in the ERP, CRM days, knowing how and what has been done. Because what happens is people forget that life is a bunch of snapshots. And so where I can help people, and I help the young people that work with me understand is, imagine if everybody judged you for what you were like when you were 10, right? If they had that snapshot only of you when you were 10, and they're like, oh my gosh, you were into theft. And you're like, what are you talking about? Well, you stole bubble gum from the grocery store. You're a thief. And they judged you as a thief. And meanwhile, back when you were 10, it was very acceptable for 10-year-olds to make mistakes like that, and you would get a slap on the hand. They wouldn't arrest you. But maybe now, today, they arrest you for stealing bubble gum, but yet you're being persecuted for something 20 years ago. That's the most difficult thing, is there's that dynamic of, hey, I'm being judged for what was completely acceptable when I was working, when I was a boss, when I was an owner. I'm being judged when everybody went out and got wasted at lunchtime. I'm being judged when, people were more fraternizing in the workplace. Work parties were different, the things that were acceptable. And now it's so easy to take a snapshot and say, oh my gosh, 30 years ago, this is who you were, and now you can't be today what you are. That's rule number one. So the other side of it is some things you have to learn and you can't do, right? I don't want to be Dave Meltzer at 21. I don't want to be judged today at 52 that I'm the same Dave Meltzer that I was 21. I'll illuminate what I did. I was a moron, an idiot, right? I don't lie about it, right? I will tell you that I've done drugs and alcohol and, during work, done things that weren't acceptable, but I don't do them today. Where it's very difficult is where you have no knowledge of what's acceptable. I'll give you an example. I might, and I've changed this, but I said to some of the people that worked, a girl that worked in my office, sweetie, I said, oh, sweetie, can you do this? And my daughters who work for me, freaked out. They're like, Dad, you can't say that. And in my ignorance, I didn't know that that's offensive. And it may be completely obvious to everyone else that's 30 years old or 25 years old, it's offensive. But I think there's a lot of energy being wasted between, one, judging people for what they did when it was socially acceptable. For example, smoking marijuana, you do that 3 times and get caught, you could be in jail for life, right? But nowadays, it's socially acceptable. There's no morality in it. It's just a social contract. So we have to go ahead and frame things in the time frame. And then also, I think, have a little bit more forgiveness for the intent that people have. People need to be judged for the intent they have. Some people, you don't even have to say the wrong word. They're just malicious and mean. They should be judged as malicious and mean, where somebody else could say a word not with any malicious intent, but other people say, hey, that's malicious and mean because that word means something malicious and mean. So there's this huge divide and also snapshots of valuation that cause all of this interference from us actually working together, learning together, and growing together.
But I think what you point out is a very important distinction in that you've evolved not only as a businessman, but also as a person in the way you think. I think the problem is people maybe in your age group, they don't even involve their thinking. So I agree you shouldn't be judged by what you did when you're 25, when you're 52. But if you don't evolve your thinking from 25 to 52, that's where people get in trouble. And I think you have just done a great job of not only evolving as a business person, but also the way you think. Just by the way you describe what your background, it's pretty clear you were able to do that. How do you get more older people to evolve their thinking? Because that's why we are in a pandemic and not wearing masks and the whole country shut down.
Yeah, because the other issue is it's everything from the pandemic to race issues. We have a lot of young listeners who are trying to have the conversation with their parents, trying to have their conversation with their aunt or uncle, and they ask us for advice, but fortunately for us, our parents are pretty progressive, so there was no conversation to have. But what advice would you give on that?
Yeah, well, I had to, right? I mean, a lot of people first, unlike a lot of people, I sat and learned. So when the initial surge of Black Lives Matters came and resurfaced themselves, number one, historically, my business partner being Warren Moon, as far as race relations, socioeconomic relations, support with scholarships and working with police forces and all the things that I've been able to do, been asked to be an advisor to some very high people on this matter, I still just sat back and started talking to people to understand and align. And what happens is people just are quick to say stupid shit. Let's just be honest. And so even to that, I got attacked for not saying anything. Then when I said, hey, let's take the perspective that all lives matter, I learned that all lives do matter, but we need to prioritize Black lives, right? And this little distinction was able to, I've been able to help older people like myself who immediately, just hear, what do you mean you're mad because I'm saying all lives matter? Of course, all lives matter, but you're not listening, right? You're not learning. What they're trying to say is that we need to prioritize Black lives. They're not saying all lives don't matter. That's just stupid. Nobody would think that life doesn't matter, right? But we need to prioritize Black life because historically, we have systematically created the same problems hundreds of years over and over again with the same issue. So why not create change? And I think younger people are getting frustrated with the older people because they simplify things and they attack, these just one-line statements. And then, these old people, I have a friend, I'm not even a friend anymore, but it's like, will not wear a mask, right? And they made it a political issue. They've made it a political issue, and it's like, I'm a lion, not a sheep. I'm like, you're an idiot. That's what you are. Yes. You're an idiot. What do you mean you're a lion? Because you're trying to protect your family and friends and neighbors and parents and I'm very confused by this, but we have such division of these different cultures, different races, different ages because of one thing. I'll tell you. The speed in which everything happened the last 10 years is extraordinary. We haven't had time to rethink all of our major institutions. So we've created this huge divide. Our educational system completely screwed up. Our justice system completely screwed up. Our political system of electoral completely screwed up. Our judicial system screwed up. Our medical system. But it's screwed up because of the advancement. But we haven't had time to get the systems in place. I mean, I'm talking about the socioeconomical, political systems that are supporting the technology that allows us to do so much so quickly. And we're going to have to, have a reconstruction. In my opinion, we're going to have a reconstruction. And hopefully, I think this pandemic has allowed us to do at least one thing, take inventory of our values. And if we're able to do that, I think we're able to reconstruct this country in a really positive way.
Yeah, and I also think to add, I think you brought up all great points, but one thing also to add is the way we consume information the last 10 years has changed. Now we're just in soundbite, clickbait, headline. No one reads anything. They read the headline. You could spin anything. You could spin Black Lives Matter to be the worst thing or the best thing. You can make defund the police the worst thing or the best thing. Everything can be construed in however you want to think about the topic, and they will feed you that information however you already predisposed to think about the topic, which I think is the biggest problem.
Yeah, the problem is also we also don't like hearing what we don't agree with. I don't know what it was like 30 years ago when people heard things they didn't like. But today, on both sides, you can't tell a liberal person anything conservative belief without getting your head chopped off. Vice versa, you speak. A liberal person and a conservative person cannot talk about anything besides sports and music.
And not only that, we're algorithmically given information to only feed us what we already believe. Yeah. So it's literally the antithesis. So that's what social media has done. It's a race discussion, and it's just created a divide. Everyone stake your pole on the ground, and you don't go the other side.
You don't cross the side.
That's the best point that we can talk about, because I think coming from the marketing side, from a traditional marketer, where you had a limited spectrum of people that you could reach, that you had to be more center. You had to be more ubiquitous in what you were saying, because you couldn't specifically talk. Right nowadays, you can get so specific that I could be an expert at toenail polishing and have a 5 million person viewership and following of people that literally, because of the algorithm and because of the specificity of marketing today, that I can just address people that are interested in toenail polishing. And so what happens is, because of that specificity and because of the technological analytics that we're allowed to address, people are only being fed what they want to hear. And so if they hear something that they haven't heard before or they don't want to hear, they don't think it's real, which then, someone who's smart in the marketing side of things and starts marketing, hey, anything that's not what I say is fake, is pretty damn bright. I have learned the power over, working with Vaynerchuk. I didn't get it when he first started working with me. You cannot put up enough content, right? And now I am truly of the belief that I could put the same exact content up every day because of the size of the market and the frequency. And that piece of content would just keep talking to the people that liked it and the new people that liked it. And it would keep growing and growing my brand and growing that one piece of content. And all it would do is frustrate a few of the people that like to watch me every day. But the payoff is that I could grow such a big new audience that just wants to hear what they like to hear. It's like me with Rocky. I watched Rocky like 150 times. Why? Because it makes me feel good, right? So if I put out a piece of content that makes you feel good and you watch it every day, it's going to continue to make you feel good. Someone then puts something that's the opposite out. You'll be like, oh, F them. They don't know what they're talking about. I created a divide.
Yeah. Very, very true. What about, one of the things that I find interesting is you're based out in Orange County, which to me is now become the most controversial county on earth, right? And I have a lot of friends there. My in-laws live there. How do you navigate Orange County?
Dude, I live in a bubble. I stay away from, it's so divided. It's the first time it ever went to, Democrat on the voting side, but there's still old school conservatives that won't wear masks, that, the school districts are divided. There's some liberal school districts, conservative school district. I tell my wife, my neighborhood is a bubble, right? And I try, literally, I can't go outside the bubble because I get the lions and the sheep and the ridiculous stuff out. And I had to close my office a week before they told us, back, before July 4th, because I saw what was going on. And it wasn't the whole group of everyone in Orange County. It was that I have 3 teenage daughters that thought it was socially acceptable to, go to bars and to hang out at the beach for 4th of July. And I was watching going, gosh, if my girls are fighting me on this, everybody that works for me is going to go. And they have no idea how exponential virality of diseases work. I'm putting all these grandparents of these kids at risk. And the worst story I heard was one of my daughter's friends was feeling sick. For 4th of July, the parents made her go visit the grandparents. She's like, I feel sick. We shouldn't go. The dad's like, oh, this is just a hoax. Don't worry about it. And then makes her hug the grandparents goodbye.
Oh, my God.
Grandparents, grandpa ends up in ICU, and the father ends up on a respirator and is unconscious right now.
Oh, my God. God, people.
It's insane. It's complete insanity. So
and what makes the disease so dangerous, and I say this about happiness as well, because it is what makes happiness so powerful. All it takes is one idiot.
Yeah.
Right? All it takes is one. Like, if you get one drunk driver, they can't kill everyone on the freeway. Right? Eventually, they're going to get a few people, but eventually they're going to stop driving. Right?
Yeah.
Like, literally, this virus just takes one person that's a moron, going to the wrong place, spitting on the wrong people. And this thing just goes and goes and goes, and every hospital is closed all of a sudden.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's scary.
It's super scary. So I want to leave on a positive note. You obviously give a lot of great advice, great information out on your social media. If you could leave us with a good piece of kind of advice, information that you've kind of learned over the last 4 or 5 months in the pandemic, and then if you could just plug all your social media where people can find you.
Yeah. Let me just tell everyone what I'd be doing now. 1, take inventory of your values every day. Personal, experiential, giving and receiving values. Don't be afraid to be a hypocrite. Don't be afraid to change your mind and grow and learn. Don't be afraid to be more interested than interesting. 2, ask for help. Ask people, everyone you meet in person, on the phone, email, social media, do you know anyone that can help me? And ask people how you can provide service or value. 3, study. Pay attention to, give intention to the coincidences you want in your life. Study what you have planned, what you don't have planned in your sleep. 4, do things now. 100% of the things you do now get done. The difference between hyper successful people and others is people that get shit done are successful. Do things now. 100% of the things you do now get done. Finally, make it a practice of ending fear. It's a practice. You're not going to be perfect at it. I still get fearful every day. Make a practice of quieting yourself, of practicing ending fear. Learn to move in the right trajectory. Don't accelerate into the wrong trajectory. Don't create more interferences, voids, and shortages like we've been discussing here today. Be at peace. Try to find your center. And then everybody, you can find me. Number 1, text me. I do free trainings every Friday. I give free books, free exercises, free guides. 949-298-2905. David at dmeltzer.com. dmeltzer.com, and of course at David Meltzer. Reach out, David Meltzer, anywhere. I'd love to help. I am of service. I love you two guys. Tell Drama I said hi. Have me back on. I'd love to talk to you guys.
This is amazing.
This is awesome. Thanks so much for your time. I think I even learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners will learn a lot.
Definitely, and I think incredible perspective. And I'm going to add a number 6 to your rule. Wear a fucking mask.
All right, I'm with you guys.
Thank you.
Protect your friend. Take care, man.
All right, let's get to it. Great interview. Good old Davey Meltzer.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great guy.
Love him.
He's the best.
Yep. You guys want to talk about like what's going on in the world and stuff?
Okay.
There's a pandemic happening.
Is there?
Yeah, it's like this crazy thing. I would like to
Was it
say
like a
I
cult?
called it. As far as the three of us go, I really forecasted this coming. Saw it early.
Just the flu.
Over in China.
Big Chinese guy.
And it's kind of fucking up, I would say, everything.
Yeah.
And I would say that I hate to report, as far as developed, rich countries go, America is getting the shit kicked out of it, and by far proving our ineptitude of handling such things.
I mean, you go not even developed countries. Vietnam's wide open.
That's true. That's true. It's what, us and Brazil?
Us, Brazil, and India.
Okay. Great.
I mean, India, we knew.
Unfortunately, the just dynamics of poverty-stricken countries, this is impossible to contain.
Yeah.
Because you have villages with not great sanitation, with hundreds of millions of people that are in those conditions.
Yeah.
It's not even their fault, unfortunately. That's overpopulation and poverty.
Yeah, we have everything.
We have no
you can need.
excuse.
Zero excuse. Well, so here we are. So this is what's going on. Just want to keep everyone updated. That's what we do here on Group Chat. I think a few things to talk about on the topic. Apparently, I didn't even realize this, but apparently when Corona first hit, all of these, all the big retailers, super cracked down. I mean, a lot of them had to close, but super cracked down on masks and blah, blah, blah. Kind of a quick response. What I didn't realize was that in the meantime, a lot of them have kind of loosened up on that. Mm-hmm. And we've seen things like at the local Ralph's, I heard multiple cashiers got sick.
Yep.
That was the Rock and Roll Ralphs?
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Ralphs.
We are also hearing about LA Apparel where multiple people have died and 300 employees have got it. So all these things are starting to happen. And it seems like now we're having discussions about hey, I think we need to mandate masks.
It's so late to
the
the
mask
party.
issue to me is the biggest, most mind-blowing thing. I know we've harped on it probably too much, but I just can't understand.
If you rationalize it like this,
mm-hmm.
the downfall of the potential downfall of the greatest country ever
Yep.
is going to be a mask.
Yep.
Because
Not a nuclear weapon.
not a nuclear weapon, not
Cyber hacking.
Yeah.
Not even cyber hacking, not even just a good old-fashioned war.
No.
It's can you get a guy to wear a mask?
The other great empires were defeated in war,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
We defeated
Ourselves.
because we won't walk into a Walmart with a mask on.
Yep. That's how we're going to go out.
It's like, they do these in history books, they'll kind of, the Byzantine Empire, and they talk about the rise and then the fall.
Yeah. This will be
fall
ours.
is just they're going to show a
Cotton
mask and say, so they're going to be studying this 100 years from now in school books.
So wait a minute.
Remember that great country, America? What happened to them? They're like, there was a pandemic that was killing people all over the world, and they didn't want to wear masks.
That's it.
End
of the chapter.
It's over. The country fell to its knees. A lot of people watched a lot of Netflix.
And now it's China.
Yeah.
And everyone TikTok.
We had a good run.
We had a good run.
Post-World War II, we were hot.
Very
Hot. We created a lot of culture.
We had a good 100 years.
Yeah.
I would say Europe was still super relevant until World War II, and it was dual powers.
Yeah.
And then
we were the rise in the 20s, the roaring 20s. We had a good run then.
And then post-World War II took over.
Killed it.
Yeah.
I mean, really crushed it. 100 years, not bad. I'm not mad at it. But it feels like, we talk about those stories of the guy who took a selfie on the edge of the cliff and died. And it's like, gosh, who wants to die that way?
Yeah.
I think we're going to be that.
What's interesting is the irony of all of this is the mask is what obviously takes down the greatest country ever.
Yeah.
And then the slogan that led us to this point is called Make America Great Again.
Yeah.
So those are going to be in the museums in China when they
the hat and the mask.
The hat and the mask, and be like, these two pieces of fabric destroyed the greatest empire ever.
You know what's crazy? If you read about post-World War II, they talk about the genius of how America leveraged trade with Europe, like after World War II, America could have just colonized all of Europe because everyone relied on the American military financing. Instead, they like strategically were like, we don't need to take over all these countries. Let's just leverage them and use us as partners. And that was so freaking genius that minds back then were thinking so long term. Like the actual strategic thing is to actually leverage all these countries, not take them over.
Yeah.
And now we can't even wear a mask.
No, and now we're not allowed to go there.
Yes.
We can't fly there for a vacation.
Because, as this continues on, if, once there's a vaccine, hopefully, and people get vaccinated and, there's some sort of normalcy in life, it is now clear that something like this can happen again. So, my guess is there'll be a portion of society that operates with a mask just in general crowded places. Like, I could see myself hopping on an airplane and probably always wearing a mask now. Because I don't even want to get sick from flying on. Now that, like, it's socially acceptable, I'd rather just wear a mask, be comfortable, not get sick.
Yeah. I also think this just made you aware of how germs spread, and that's hard to, like, it's lasted long enough that I don't know that it goes away.
Yeah, because we always knew to wash your hands for 20 seconds, but none of us did it.
Not even
I didn't
close.
know. 20 seconds is a long time.
I knew the birthday song.
You didn't know?
20 seconds?
You didn't know?
I knew you were supposed to sing Happy Birthday. That's
Yeah.
what I knew. But there was no shot I was doing it. And oftentimes, I would only wet my hands if someone else walked into the bathroom and I didn't want to be judged.
Just out of guilt.
Just being honest. But now, the thought of, like, walking out of a bathroom and shaking someone's hand or even giving, like, strangers hugs feels weird. Like, I just feel like even if Corona was gone tomorrow, it would still feel weird.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's how we go out, and it is what it is. I think part of that American like pride and grit has morphed because life is just too easy now into American entitlement and arrogance, and I think everything that made us great will morph and kill us.
And not to harp on post World War II, we call it the greatest generation.
Yeah.
So what's the worst?
I think we know.
But it's not our generation that's causing the problem. The greatest generation people, it's that generation that caused this problem, right?
Well, I would blame it on
I would say it's that ideologue of people across all ages, because those same people that are in their 30s are anti-maskers, and they're, it's not just old people.
Yeah, but the old people are in power, right? The greatest generation, folks, that's what, 70s and above?
So they would have, that's probably right.
That's true.
Who's in power?
Yeah. They got arrogant.
The greatest generation are in their 90s.
Yeah, they're up. They're That's like my
They fought in World War II.
Yeah.
So you would have been of age in World War II, so 1920.
Yeah, these are the entitled little kids of the fucking greatest generation.
Yes.
And they're like, we're great too.
Yeah.
We don't do anything.
Yeah. Fred Trump just whooping Donald's ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Look what you got.
Yeah. He took him to a Klan rally and whooped him.
I think you brought up a really good point, Drama, is that this is the product of American life has been just too easy.
Yeah.
We've gone through no wars on our own soil.
Yeah.
We've had zero conflict within the country. We had 9/11, which was tragic, but that was 3,000, 4,000 dead. This is 150,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of our real tragedies over the years, I would say more so when you add them up, some people are going to hate me for saying this, it is inflicted on ourselves. It's mass shootings.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you add up over all the mass shootings since 9/11, I would say that's more tragic than 9/11 was. Sorry if that really pisses people off. But that's mainly what we've been hearing.
Yeah, and I think, this article got brought up because Walmart, Kroger's, Kohl's all have now made it mandatory to wear masks inside their stores.
4 months into a pandemic.
Yeah.
4 fucking months.
When the second, it's not even the second wave, but the second increase is through the roof.
The problem, you know what the reality is from like a Walmart perspective? They're like, they're such a large company. They're in so many states. They're in so many cities. They're like, we assume the state government will take some action. So they're probably not concerned about certain locations, certain stores. Mm-hmm. But then you go into certain in Georgia where they're banning, like they're going out of the way to not wear masks.
I mean, you're telling me the Georgia governor has banned cities and counties from requiring masks.
Yeah. I don't understand the logic of that.
I don't understand. For
I'm
a second.
okay with you saying it's not mandatory, but just like let states and counties decide on their own terms what they want to do.
I just can't. It seems like just raw, unfiltered arrogance.
Yeah. And yeah, I saw the Oklahoma governor got it.
Yeah.
Shocker. Guess where he was? At the stupid rally in Tulsa without a mask.
Interesting. Yep. I just like, man, I don't know. I don't get it at all. It's really, really a bummer.
And that's the real sad reality is we're past the point of no return.
Yeah.
We're never going to have a full lockdown like we did where people were actually scared sitting in their house. Like in the first 2 weeks of April, I think at least in LA,
No,
everyone
I think
took
everywhere. I would say the first 6 weeks, people really obeyed the lockdown.
we obeyed the lockdown for the most part. Clearly not enough because we didn't rid ourselves. If we did that and then put masks on when we re-entered society, we wouldn't be here.
It's just bad leadership, though. Look at New York. Like, New York is having great numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know I've said a lot about Cuomo. I don't fucking know if he's really that great, but the way he led New York through this thing it was really good.
Yeah.
And he made mistakes early on, too.
Yeah.
He told everyone, go out, live your lives. Don't be scared of this thing. But I just don't get how you can't look at like, okay, what is New York doing? What are these places doing that's working?
What did Italy do? Remember when we used to talk about Italy in April?
Yep. And there were all
Italy's-
the videos of people on their balconies banging pots and pans and oh my God, they're coming together. Now they're what, chilling, back to life?
It's open. Restaurants are open. I mean, Positano looks amazing.
Yeah.
We have a group chat listener that I don't know if he wants to be outed or not, but he's posting for Positano with his family and it looks incredible.
Damn it. You know what kills me about this one too is like if you decide to be a piece of shit and you sit and just stuff your face with cheeseburgers and Coke in your basement, eat Cheetos, whatever, that only affects you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to wear your seatbelt, it only affects you. You smoke cigarettes, it only affects you. Your stupidity affects everyone else.
Yeah.
And may not even kill you or really even significantly, you might get hardly sick.
Yep.
You might kill a grandma or whatever, some person with a predisposed condition that was taking all the precautions.
It's the equivalent of drunk driving, right?
It is that.
The whole country's drunk driving.
Yes.
That's what they should do. You should be able, if you get caught and they can track it back to a death was caused by your
It's a felony.
just do that for a couple weeks. Everyone will chill out.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I'd imagine in Orange County people still aren't wearing masks.
No. I saw a hilarious video. I'm going to send it to you, Pete. Maybe you'll want to post it.
Everyone saw that video. It's
Was
so
it the
good.
two kids pranking? Oh my God. It was these two kids that were like, hey, let's go down. This is insane. First of all, that this even counts as a prank.
Yeah.
They go down to the beach in Orange County. They have a mask that says, or a sign that says wear a mask, and they're handing out free masks. And when people walk or ride their bikes by and aren't wearing a mask, they say, hey, did you forget your mask? That's it.
Yeah.
And this one fat old Orange County just fucking loser hops off his bike. If you want a piece of me, you can believe in masks. I don't. If you want to come see me about it, let's do this. And like the kids are like, getting ready to run or fight or whatever. But it's just so insane, man.
And for those that don't know, Orange County is 30 minutes away from where we are talking right now.
Yeah.
30 minutes away. It's a different country.
This is when you almost wish, like, I know Korea has this, Israel, I believe as well, right when you turn 18, 3 years in the military.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had that kind of discipline, we wouldn't be arguing about masks. If we all had to do 2 to 3 years basic training, getting yelled at, screamed at.
1 year. 3's a long time.
Or whatever the number is.
We're already past. Let's implement it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, we're just
under
spoiled.
30.
Yeah, it's just
spoiled and entitled, and we're the best country ever, and fuck foreigners, and like just that American thing. Like I said, that I think made us so great is fucking us right now.
Yeah, it's so
because
stupid.
when you need proper leadership, you actually have to like think clearly and not just view everything like, how do I get elected next? Which is what all the politicians are doing, left and right.
Yeah.
What about the us, the UK and Canada are claiming that Russia is like cyber attacking COVID research centers?
Russia has just harmed America on a level that is equivalent to China, in my opinion.
That's
Because
what's
they
scary
obviously-
is when you add all the shit we talk about China and then you throw Russia in there too.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
And Russia, no offense, Russians, but you guys ain't shit. What do you got? You got a little bit of oil left. You got nothing.
They're about
It's a
to have
piece of shit
America.
country.
Oil. That's it.
It's a piece of shit
And now, though,
country.
as oil becomes we become less dependent on oil globally. At least you hope with electric cars and everything. They're going to be irrelevant.
They are irrelevant, and this is why they're cyber attacking. They're trying to get any leverage, any last kind of little sign of hope of relevancy, because China was smart. They bet the farm on manufacturing, built that base up, became extremely wealthy and powerful. Then quietly, like the game, what is it, Risk? Is that the one with the countries? You know, acquired Southeast Asia,
Kramer
Africa.
with the famous
yeah,
Ukraine.
The Ukraine is weak. And like they went and quietly acquired the whole globe while Russia was just pillaging its own people.
Yeah.
That's another sign of bad leadership. You have a dictator who's been
Richest
powerful
man in the
life.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People think Putin's worth over 100 billion.
Then that's not that rich. Because everyone's worth
So maybe
over-
he's worth 200 now. I don't
I
know.
think it's got to be like 500. I'm sure he has some Apple stock.
Bought into Amazon early.
He was like, that guy's shipping books fast.
They're just crazy, man. I just, when you throw that on top of the China thing, that also feels sketchy.
And what they're hacking is our research results on the vaccine. And why would they want that? Because they want to hold the whole globe hostage with the vaccine, or save their economy. It's crazy. Like, and we don't sanction Russia on shit.
How, like, through all this shit and like being, you know, quote unquote irrelevant, did they figure out fucking hacking and bots so damn well?
They're not stupid.
No,
Russians
they're
are
really
not-
smart engineers. They're the best chess players in the world.
But how haven't they figured out something else to create then? Why you just like
Because the
like,
government is in their way. Like they're very talented Russian engineers, talented Russian entrepreneurs. They're genius. They're a very smart group of people.
Yeah.
They just have a leader that only cares about himself.
Yeah. That's why it's kind of insane how good G is.
Yeah.
He's got this like grand vision, and he's just how we talk about Republicans in the Senate just out executing. That's what G's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
G's thinking about China 150 years from now.
Yeah, they have those, I think the 20-year plan or whatever they have, they put out. Like they're thinking so long term.
He's like Bezos.
Yes.
That's what Bezos preaches.
Yeah.
He's the Bezos of fucking dictators, man.
I mean, the big debates of the world.
Yeah.
He's way better.
It's sketchy. And then you throw Russia on that. And it just seems like, even though I'm sure, you know, everyone's enemies with each other, I think America's like a pretty big focus. Like, let's fuck those guys.
Russia? Or just
Russia
everybody?
and China. I think everyone just wants to like.
At what point will Republicans admit that Trump was the absolute worst thing to happen to our country? Because forget policy, this last 4 months, we are closed. We will be closed
No, I'll
until
tell you
there's a
what.
vaccine.
10 years.
No. November 4th. I think they are going to get swept in every race. Even the way Lindsey Graham is going to, if he loses his Senate seat to some like no-name guy, Jamie Harrison, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
these guys,
it would take that happening because I think it hurts their own reputation. Like if they admit it in the next 4 years while they're still in office.
I think if all those clowns lose,
Yeah.
Yeah, if
they're
they
gone.
lose, yeah.
So right now, Donald Trump has 96% approval within the Republican Party, which is why no senators and congressmen are breaking with him.
yeah.
When senators start to feel their election is potentially not going their way, it'll be interesting to see if any of them have the balls to go head up against Trump, like a Lindsey Graham, a McConnell, guys who you never thought would lose their elections. And they're in a tight race, and it's so clear Biden's just kicking Trump's ass nationally, which he is right now. Will they break with Trump?
I think my guess is they'll only break when they lose their seat.
You think they have to lose, but we know politicians are the most selfish people on the planet.
Yeah.
They care about nothing other than getting elected for the most part.
But
They
what if
have to-
Republican voters are still like riding with Trump?
But yeah, because
Even if he loses, they're like, fuck that, he was the best thing ever.
No, but
But
I guess
you
my
could
point
still
is,
win. You could still win all the Republican votes and get clobbered if the turnout is high.
yes.
So they're not going to give in until they lose because everything tells you that the polls don't matter, right?
I mean, 2016 told us that.
No, that's the misconception, which is why I think if you actually look at what happened in 16, the national polls were right. It was within the margin of error. What Hillary won the national vote, the popular vote, and it wasn't as high as they thought, but it was within the margin of error. What the polling got wrong was Wisconsin, Ohio at the state level. So what we're learning is that the state level polling for the presidency wasn't as accurate back then.
Yeah, well, that's a big problem.
With 4 more years of, you would hope, improved data,
I don't think the data, that's why, like, I don't really care about the polls either, because I know that it doesn't matter what happens on voting day. But, like,
this is the unicorn of all unicorn elections, voting during a pandemic. Who's going to go vote?
I think everyone, I mean,
but
everyone who did Black Lives Matter protest is going to vote.
But you know who's voting is all the people who don't think you should be wearing masks anyway.
Yeah, well, those people we know are going to vote.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because all the masks, like this might be a place where being too safe and being too realistic might fuck us.
Yeah.
I
just don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting like the most record turnout ever from a percentage of the population.
Yeah, I mean,
and
if it took 3 hours for me on primary day to get my vote in, with the new social distancing rules, the number of people allowed, it's 10 hours.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be really bad. Yeah. What about, speaking of vaccines, what about Moderna? Like, I've seen all this stuff about Moderna. Well, really, the main headline I saw on repeat was Moderna has been testing on human beings, and everyone they tested on got the antibodies.
Yeah. So
let's roll that puppy out.
So the challenge is, this is phase 1.
Okay.
There's also a phase 2.
Okay.
And then there's a phase 3.
Jeez.
Phase 3 is testing it on 30,000 humans. And then we have to see side effects. So to give things in context, HIV has passed phase 2 testing, a few vaccines, and we still don't have an HIV vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out in phase 3 how effective and if it has any side effects. So we're on the right track, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
They're moving really fast from everything we're hearing and reading about.
And then there's the University of Oxford team. They have a vaccine that they're trying to, I can't even pronounce, it's a massive pharmaceutical company, AstraZeneca.
Yeah, AstraZeneca.
They're trying to produce 2 billion doses, and they're like fast tracking it. So we're going to get there. Yeah. I just think it's still going to take a year.
To make 2 billion of anything takes time. Like 2 billion.
I mean, China couldn't even make masks fast enough.
Yeah. That's easy.
And that's just a fucking 3-ply.
Yeah, that's my concern is like, what's this? I don't know anything, but the process of actually getting it from made to in your arm. Like, it just feels like it's going to be like, oh, I heard you can get it here. Or did you hear, like, Dr. Jeff, have you been able to get the vaccine yet?
Dr. Jeff's going to have it for the rich clients.
Yeah. I think we're good here.
Yeah, I'm going to pay in advance. I'm going to send him a Venmo today.
I've been a paying member of Dr. Jeff's business for a while.
I got to sign up. I'm messing up right now. Okay, so I guess it's not that optimistic. This felt to me like maybe by the fall we're all got needed.
No, it was just enough news to let the market roar.
Okay.
That's all.
That's true. Okay. Okay, what about this one? So I saw that Trump, this fucking guy looks like Andy Frisella's little brother, like an Instagram motivational speaker / fitness trainer.
Yeah.
Brad Parscale or something like that. I don't even care to learn his name.
Yeah.
He is Trump's campaign manager since 2018. He was demoted. From my understanding, he was demoted. Like, I don't think we got much explanation.
No.
But I saw that Hope Hicks was trending on Twitter. And so it turns out Twitter, you can give Twitter the credit for they know how to do a good conspiracy theory. And the theory is that Brad was having an affair with Hope Hicks, and Trump demoted him because he's jealous because he wishes he was having an affair with Hope Hicks.
That's the Twitter conspiracy.
That's all Twitter conspiracy.
That is a great conspiracy. And it goes back to Corey Lewandowski, who used to run his campaign, also had a relationship with Hope Hicks. And apparently this other guy Rob Porter, I don't even know who that is, apparently had a relationship with Hope Hicks, and they all got demoted because Trump is obviously trying to keep Hope Hicks to himself. Hope Hicks is obviously a very good-looking woman, so Trump's obviously jealous.
I gotta look up Hope Hicks. I don't know off the top of my head. Does she look like any one of those little blonde Trump
No,
followers?
she's actually brunette.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it could be this, or it could be he's down 15 points in the polls to Biden.
I don't think it's that. I think it's Hope Hicks.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I
she's
think-
pretty.
Yeah.
I think Trump. I'm sure it's Trump, so everything's on the table.
He's jealous.
I'm sure he's jealous, but it's clear from any data you see, he's getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
Sleepy Joe in that basement, it's just, he's out executing Trump by shutting up.
Yeah.
I think Corona was the best thing that happened to Sleepy Joe.
Yes.
Because it
Oh,
gave
yeah.
a reason why he needs to stay
Do you know
in the
how
basement.
many bloopers he would have had by now?
Yeah, he would have been out of here. He would have talked his way right out of any
Yeah,
chance.
everyone would think this guy's not fit to be president.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing him in any national spotlight at all, ever.
It was the best thing that happened to him.
Occasionally you see him on like a Fox News or a CNN, but like in the grand scheme of things, nobody watches CNN or Fox News. What, 10 million people?
Yeah.
Talking hundreds of millions of people has never seen Joe Biden on TV.
Yeah, that's so good. It's literally going to be the best thing that happened
Yeah.
to him. He'll
I
get
don't-
elected because of it.
Yeah, I don't even see why he would. I know everyone says he has to debate. I'm like, why?
I know. And
Hell
Trump's
no, he
trying to get
doesn't.
a fourth one.
A fourth what, debate?
Yeah, he knows.
When are debates supposed to start?
In the fall, so September, October.
I would say I would not debate.
And I know for whatever reason, I know the ratings for debates aren't like crazy, but they do matter. They swing polls.
Oh, they do.
Because the swing voters
they
actually watch.
They matter big time.
Yeah.
Plus now with social media, those things get blown all over social media.
What the guys on that other podcast, the All In podcast,
Yeah.
I think they were saying, one of the guys mentioned that if the way I would do it, if I was Joe Biden, I would say, I'll debate you, release your tax returns.
Yeah.
If you release your tax returns, then I'll debate you.
Yeah, might as well. And
That, I think, is a genius idea.
Yeah, then you're
because
good.
then you're like,
You never have
he's
to
not
debate.
going to release the tax returns.
yeah, he doesn't
Cool.
want people to know he's not that rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
if he does release them, you have so much firepower for
Yeah.
that debate, as long as you can
just be
remember
like,
it.
I'm happy. Here's my tax returns.
Yeah.
I'm happy to debate you, and then it's over.
Because he a seemingly failed real estate guy that was able to have a hit TV show and sell some books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He should have gone to USC. It was more his steez.
totally. Totally. You know what's funny too is I really feel like when you bring that up, like somebody could tie Trump up at this point. Like meaning like you could catch him up. Like if you were good at this, you could catch him in I won't release my tax return, and he'll try to diss Joe Biden, and he could look silly. Like you could tie him up, I think.
I think
gotta-
Cuban would be able to. Mark Cuban could.
Yeah, you need somebody.
He's smart and he's
Yeah.
willing to attack. He's willing to fight.
He's a bully.
Yeah, he's
Could
good.
man, you could flip it on Trump if he has enough weaknesses now. You know.
But you need the tax return. I think that matters. I think
I don't even think the tax returns are going to show anything that's prosecutable.
No, but-
it's just going to show he's not that rich.
that's fine. That's important.
Yeah, that's worse to him.
That's his fans think he's like some genius investor.
yeah.
That is still the backbone of his, even with smarter people, which blows my mind. The backbone of why he's fit
Yeah.
is his business experience.
Yeah. Like those who are following, you know who else who had a great business? Your boy Dan Blazarian.
Yeah, you want to know who else? Jeffrey Epstein
Yeah.
made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you know what's also not real? Any Forbes list you see and how much they claim people are worth.
Yeah.
Those are all fake, everyone.
Yes.
Especially if Taylor offers on it.
Yeah. Taylor's on the Forbes
Especially.
30 under 30.
You know that shit's fake.
Peep 30 guys with less than 30 grand.
He's going to be salty about that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as always, we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. Okay, good time to let that one sink in for Taylor. I know he's listening. Pete, why don't you read some ads?
Oh, boy.
Okay, here we go. Next up, Washington Redskins have officially said that they will be changing their name and logo.
Yeah.
So good progress there. Josh Norman, who is an ex-player,
Yep.
posted some like cryptic tweet about what's done in the dark shall always come to light and don't ask questions and blah, blah, blah. Like, do you think this guy is potentially just sort of bitter at, like, I don't know, the type of little problems that exist within a lot of organizations? Or do you think that there's really some bigger thing going on with Washington that is going to get unearthed?
So there's a huge rumor coming out that reporters have been leaking that Washington Post, owned by the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, is releasing a story today about Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins. Today. And in that article, apparently, this is the rumor, they're going to talk about usage of drugs, hookers. They're going to talk about how him and the coach...
Nothing you've said so far is not describe an NFL owner.
I didn't even think... None of this stuff is the bad stuff, by the way.
So he's a normal guy.
It was that him and the coach, Jay Gruden, were having sex parties.
Chuck Miller box.
Jay Gruden and...
Fit to be an owner.
Jay Gruden was hooking up with the same girl as some running back, and he benched the running back because of that.
Very Trumpish.
And that's the day that Alex Smith got hurt and hurt his leg and has never been able to recover again.
Barely was able to walk for years.
Because of this. And so, like, what's going on now is, like, there's something up. Now, then the internet goes nuts, and now they're saying there's a Jeffrey Epstein connection.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking furniture.
Maxwell, Wayfair.
Wayfair. He's a big Wayfair customer.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Twitter's becoming what Reddit owned, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Reddit owned all the conspiracy.
But I think kind of dumber. Like, I think Reddit, even though they were
There's
conspiracies...
thought through
yeah, like there was
sentences.
links and there was, like they really tried to get to the bottom of things. I think Twitter just perpetuates... really just pedophilia.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now every morning when I look on Twitter, I just see the most random names trending.
Yep.
And then when you click on the name, there's no story.
Yeah. I mean, I just wonder, like, you would have to think that Jack Dorsey and the Twitter team...
We'll get to them.
We'll get to them, but don't you think that aside, you have to be bummed that your platform is turning into just garbage? Like, I feel like Twitter has been very hateful and kind of dark for a while.
Yeah.
But it's really becoming like
It's just
an off-brand Reddit.
It's just everyone, and then when you click on the Dan Snyder name, everyone just comes up with their own story. You say whatever and do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. I was trying to figure out why Dan Snyder was trending, and I thought it was because the name's finally getting announced.
Yeah.
The Washington football team, right?
No,
it had nothing to do with it. It was Jeffrey Epstein. It was child sex trafficking. They took the rumors of him having sex parties and transformed it into child sex.
Twitter loves child sex.
Yeah.
They love. I mean, it's literally like, hey, guys, not feeling well today. Child sex.
Yeah.
Where's the ring? Expose it. Pizzagate.
I mean, literally everything in whatchamacallit, Twitter just goes into this dark turn so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to, hang your head as a platform on anything positive when everything, it's why you need to verify the people, because it's, if you look at the people making the comments, it's a guy with a Joe Biden face and
with
a
a
Make
fucking
America Great
anonymous face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
QAnon.
We are legion.
Yeah.
I got it. So you're the guy.
You're
the
guy.
one exposing everyone.
Yeah. And his previous tweet was about like Drake's new album that's coming out.
Exactly. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just would have to believe that sitting over there watching your platform become hot garbage.
And it's good for business.
Right.
Hot garbage is good for business.
I refuse to believe if Twitter wanted to do a deep dive on their user base and figure out which are bots, what countries they actually come from, they could expose it immediately. The same way if Facebook wanted to stop misinformation, they could do that. They did it with Corona immediately.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
They don't care.
But I just think you're riding a weird trail. I mean, I get it, but like you're riding a path that I just don't think ends well. Like you're not creating any sort of premium experience or any sort of future of real. Like I think Twitter had a real moment.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it was, but like it was, I don't know. It just has so much potential. It's the new outlet for journalism. It's the new blah, blah, blah. Presidents get elected off of it.
Yeah.
Now it's just hot garbage with a little bit of that still.
Yeah.
There's still some good. Anyway, can anyone explain to me in depth, other than child sex, what is going on with Nick Cannon? Because I'm guessing somewhere in here it leads us to child sex. But other than that,
No,
like I
it's,
saw he got fired from Viacom. He made some anti-Semitic comments. And then, I don't know. There's stuff about him saying that white people are evil racists, rapists, and murderers. I don't know.
Yeah, so it really stems from on his podcast, he started talking about, and I don't want to misquote, so I'm going to actually pull it up. He made a comment, it's never hate speech. You can't be anti-Semitic when we are the Semitic people, Cannon said. When we are the same people who they want to be. That's our birthright. We are the true Hebrews. And
who's we? Black people?
Black people.
Okay.
Because he kind of goes down to like the religious beginnings and how it all started and saying,
Seems like Nick Cannon's the guy to go to for that.
Yes, and very much so some of the teachings of Louis Farrakhan and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick Cannon failed to realize that media entertainment is controlled by the Jewish people.
Yeah, what battle are you picking?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because most of my friends are Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my closest friends are Jewish. And I think one of the things that's interesting about Jewish people in today's society, we see them as probably one of the most successful group of people, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're Jewish, you're rich. Like that's very much, it's a common statement you hear, right? But Jewish people were obviously persecuted on another level that we've never seen before, right? And they've now, thrived in this, they'll call it the last 50, 60 years and become very important, powerful, successful figures all over the world in every industry. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is, but there's always a tension with understanding the plight of Jewish people. Because if you don't know, you should read up on the Holocaust. It was like the most horrific.
But Twitter said that never happened.
What? Yeah, exactly. But it's like the most horrific thing we've ever seen in the history of the world, right? Mass genocide. And I think, when a guy like Nick Cannon, which I'm sure he had some good intentions of like why he wanted to say what he wanted to say, and you're just uneducated on the topic, and you get yourself in a bad place. Yeah. And the difference is if you compared it to like a KKK member that said something out of pocket, and let's say Nick Cannon corrected a KKK member and said, you know what, this is what you said. The problem is that the KKK member doesn't really have much to gain, right? They're there to cause destruction.
Yep.
They're there they want to make people fall. Nick Cannon is a successful guy, very well known. He has something to lose. And for him to speak kind of reckless and not be educated on a topic, and then know that you have to know, this is the thing about society. When you speak, know there are consequences for your words. Whether you agree or disagree, that is what's happening in society. And everyone came to his defense. D-Wade, Diddy, all these people said, we follow you, we lead. I'm sure they were quickly corrected by their agent, lawyer, the owners, and said like,
investors,
owners of the team, whatever, and said, hey, by the way, this is why this statement is hurtful. He is then retracted. He gave a very thoughtful apology. He's going to the Simon Wiesenthal Center to get educated from a rabbi that reached out there. So even though, to me, he made a pretty big mistake in not understanding the situation, I think the fact that he is now going to go educate himself, the same way, like I forgive Drew Brees. Obviously, I'm not a black person in that community to be forgiving him. But as someone that was just angered by his statement, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know everyone says. He said it when he said it in that moment. But we've all said stuff in the moment that are wrong. I don't like that argument. If this guy is willing to publicly apologize and he's going to go take the steps, all good. You get to do that. And so does Nick Cannon. I think Nick Cannon should be treated in the same bucket. He made a mistake. He spoke out of pocket. He wasn't educated on the topic. And now he's going to go educate himself. But he's still a very influential figure, specifically in the black community and white community. So like, I don't think we should just be like, I think a lot of people want to cancel him.
Yeah.
And then other people want him to rise and speak his mind. But I think that's also like dangerous too. You don't want to alienate Nick Cannon.
Yeah. No, and I don't think anyone should be alienated. I don't think, obviously, when we're talking about murder and things like that, it's a little different. But like someone just making a mistake and being uneducated and getting out of line on accident and then getting the slap on the wrist and I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all.
I mean, he got fired.
Yeah, but that's I guess not a slap on the wrist, a little bit more of a slap in the face.
It was an aggressive firing of him pretty quickly.
Yeah. But go learn and then who cares?
Yeah.
So I didn't know there was all this black anti-Semitism. I didn't know that.
I kind of did, but not to the level that it probably really is.
Yeah, because unfortunately, my gauge is Twitter, and which we just discussed how it's probably
so child sex, right?
Yeah, it's the most useless platform at this point.
Yeah.
But man, there's a lot like Matt Belinsky is in a huge beef with a black writer who is spewing a lot of the same nonsense.
But this is like a Louis Farrakhan thing, or?
Yeah, I guess I think.
So what do you mean by black anti-Semitism?
No, a lot of black people hold anti-Semitic sentiment.
Got it.
And they're pushing it on Twitter.
Yeah, I think there was one of the great leaders. I think that was a key part of his rhetoric, like a Farrakhan or.
Yeah, we'd have to get educated on, but I think.
I'm not going to Nick Cannon myself. I
don't know why it's all over Twitter.
It could be just one person too, and his voice is just getting heard.
No, I think that it exists. I don't know how I don't know how popular it is, but it does exist. And like there was a thing, I think it was Farrakhan, but once again, no Nick Cannon. There was something where Jamila Jamil and Chelsea Handler and these different celebrities posted during the Black Lives Matter, like when everyone was protesting and stuff, they posted, I believe it was a Farrakhan video, and people ripped them to shreds and said, this guy's an anti-Semitic, blah, 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 take it down. And they all took it down, except for Chelsea Handler because she's Jewish and she agreed with what he was saying in the video.
Yeah.
But there is something there. I just am not educated.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, I don't care. If you have any anti-hate or hate towards any group, you're in the wrong. I don't think you can justify any situation where anyone was speaking and they can be backed up. Like if you're speaking anti-Semitic marks, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing is that, so did he also say that white people of the past did not have compassion due to their lack of melanin and had to steal, rape, and kill in order to survive?
That could have been the guest, or was it that Cannon? Everything I've read on this has been so unclear on who said what.
So this article on Daily Mail says, Cannon said
that. Yeah.
White people of the past did not. Because the article is that he apologized to the Jewish community but didn't apologize to white people. And, whatever. That's not even a thing that I want to get into as a white dude. But there's also this, like I saw on Instagram the other day, I don't know if it's still there, but you know how you can choose like the badges for your stories? There was a badge that said mute white people and that you can put on your story. And it's just like, I don't know, there's this whole other thing of like white people,
Yeah.
Anytime you put everyone in a group and say white people are this, you're doing the same thing. But there's also this sentiment that you can't be racist towards white people. You can't be racist towards an oppressor. You can only be racist if you are the oppressed group, which I also think is, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think all of it is very difficult for people to handle, but if you take all these great leaders of ours in the past, you don't fight hate with more hate. Mm-hmm. No one's famous quote is that. Mm-hmm. Martin Luther King's quote is, "You fight hate with love," mm-hmm. right? And so I don't understand, knowing that these people have all taken the time to get educated on this topic, how you can still be spewing hate. When by the way, this is what all oppressed groups don't understand. You, unfortunately, need the help of other groups. Yeah. If you do not get the helps of other groups, you can't win.
Yeah. But I will say the Jewish community has done a pretty damn good job at not getting help from anyone. They have lots of help. But like, damn it, I got to give it up for a group that is so oppressed for so long, and they band together and look out for each other. And
Jewish community in that respect, no other community like it.
I mean, it's wild.
There's no Indian community does not stick together like the Jewish people stick together.
And it's like, I don't know, that's part of this whole story that I love about.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we joke about it and Jews are all rich and you blah, 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 it's like there is this thing of like, yo, we got hated on for so fucking long that now we look out for each other and we have this strong thing. And if Nick Cannon wants to pipe off, he's fired. Because we'll make sure that happens. And
and think about it. This is the Jewish population globally is 15 million people. That's nothing. In a world of 7 billion people. But when you look at who the power brokers are in every industry, it traces right back.
Like that it's that much of like a part of the culture or whatever it is, but that part I really respect.
Yeah, and I think I just don't like the approach of like, especially like a guy like Nick Cannon, who is a major player in the entertainment industry. Like, figure it out.
Is he gonna get? Does that mean he's off the morning show on Power 106? Is that part of Viacom?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's probably Clear Channel or something.
So I wonder if he was on today.
Good question. I don't know.
I don't know who runs it. You know who runs Viacom? Sumner Redstone. You know who he is. He's Jewish. He's probably like, get the fuck out of here.
He might be left to his podcast.
Independent podcast.
And then I saw Stephen A. Smith this morning saying we got to get out of the canceling culture and into the counseling culture.
Yeah.
That I agree with, but you have to treat everyone like that then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't just cancel people on one side and not counsel them.
No.
Yeah, man, it's tough because the other big slogan that is often said is hurt people, hurt people.
Yeah.
And it's just how we react. Like you know what I mean? If you've dealt with racism, you've dealt with whatever, like our natural human instinct isn't to say, okay, but let me understand, let me educate myself. Yeah. It's to say, fuck you, fuck everyone that looks like you, fuck you.
Yeah,
you know, and I didn't start it.
And I'm only saying all this because I don't want to see Nick Cannon get canceled if he's willing to put forth the effort.
Nick canceled.
Same with Drew Brees. I don't want to see Drew Brees canceled.
Yeah.
If he actually is going to say what he's going to do, then he deserves, like, at the end of the day, like, is Drew Brees a bad person? No, he's not a bad person.
The guy's given, I think, $5 million back to the New Orleans community.
Yeah, exactly.
Post-Katrina.
And neither is Nick Cannon. We know Nick Cannon. I mean, I've known Nick Cannon since he came up in this industry. Like, I don't think these people are bad. We need to give people a chance to get educated.
I agree. We do
both sides.
But I think what we have to support is like, everyone should be able to have open dialogue without fear of being canceled, understand that they are wrong, go learn and have a better dialogue and grow and evolve. We should encourage that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't encourage ever a society where you're scared of every word that might come out of your mouth. So instead, Nick Cannon, would you rather that he never goes and gets educated? He just privately harbors beliefs of, you know, fuck the Jewish community. It's like,
yeah, the problem is he also spoke on a couple things that, I mean, he put himself in that white people are the devil, this, that. Like,
totally. But I'm just saying, I'd rather him say it.
Yeah.
You'd rather him say it, get fired, and have the option to go learn and rebuild than to never say it and to, let's say, build up this huge community, this big following, all this money, all these resources, and privately hold those beliefs.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And
what's in the dark? What's his name say from Washington? What's done in the dark should come to light.
Yeah, because so what's happening is as things go quiet and people are afraid to speak their mind because they're afraid of getting canceled, the repercussions, they're still going to harbor the same beliefs. They're just going to say privately. That's what we learned with Donald Trump. Yeah. His racist entire tone in 2016, which helped him get elected, were beliefs people privately were harboring and they expressed it at the polls.
Yeah.
They're like, finally, a guy that hates Mexicans, Muslims, and minorities.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Real America's back. I remember in 2016, number one, I had no idea, in my little bubble, I had no idea that Barack Obama was so offensive to that group.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that there was even an audience for what Trump was saying. I didn't know they existed. And I thought that the ones that did exist, there was 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
Not half the country.
Not 65 million people who went to the polls and voted.
Sort of underestimated
Nick
that.
Cannon announces he's taking time off from his radio show.
That's great. I mean, good for him though, man. If he comes back and says, here's what I learned and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's the best type of human. That should be applauded.
Because I also think the other thing that will happen, if Nick Cannon is given that choice and that option, he will then educate other people that are just firing off tweets and don't know. They're just jumping on the bandwagon and not educating themselves. And then unfortunately living this life of hate and anger. And like, the problem is I understand there are things done in the past by groups of people that are fucking unacceptable and are horrendous. But like, we have to find a way to all live together, move forward, and think. I don't know, a little more progressive about how to handle the situation than constantly blame.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody.
And there's, yeah. We get it. Agreed. I could go on for hours about that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to jump quickly into the economy, and I think we've talked enough about our economy. What's going on with with our great leader's economy, China?
China is booming.
Oh, shit.
GDP rose 3.2%. Things are growing faster than expected by analysts. They just can't believe how quickly it's growing. Can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
Good for them. There's not much to report because it's all fake anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But there's a perfect example of a country with significantly more people, 3x, 4x what we have in the US?
4x.
4x. And if 100 cities with over 1 million people. Wuhan itself, I think, was 16, 17 million people. That's bigger than New York City.
Yeah.
Beijing, God knows how many people are in Beijing and Shanghai. And they were able to control the virus with basic things.
Yep. I have a feeling. I don't know, man. This just feels like the beginning of a bad story.
Yes.
Okay, speaking of the bad story, let's move on back over to our economy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be so doom and gloom in this episode. U.S. banks are essentially warning that the worst is yet to come. I feel like it looks like what they're saying is, you guys know more about this than I do, but when all this stuff kind of started, all these guys braced for the worst. And essentially they're still bracing. The worst hasn't come. It's not that little dip that you see that happened back in March or April is not it. They're still preparing. Its outlook is not good. It's
bad. So banks are, they're reporting their earnings this week, and a lot of banks performed okay because of trading revenue, because trading revenue is off the charts.
The market only goes up.
The problem is
DTGG Global.
The one thing that they did talk about is this pool of money that banks have called loan loss provisions. And this is the special pot of money set aside for when loans go bad. Yep. That pot looks like it's going to get tapped in the next quarter. So we're expecting these like crazy defaults from... and the thing is I don't know. It's probably not going to be like big corporate debt. It's going to be small business debt, and it's going to be personal. It'll be mortgages. It'll be, the small business person, and then the individual homeowner looks like is going to get shellacked in the next quarter when jobs don't come back, when all the rent forgiveness is over. Like all these things are going to, pile up, and the banks have warned everybody and said this is happening. You idiots. So if we don't pay attention to it, shame on us. They're literally telling you shit's about to hit the fan.
Well, we don't need to be economists to realize you walk down the street, stores and restaurants aren't allowed to open.
Yeah.
That means they can't collect rent or revenue.
Shit. And what happened?
Do they have to pay rent? What happens to that landlord? How does he pay for his mortgage? What happens to the bank? How do they stomach the mortgage loss? This is fucking common sense.
Yeah.
Oh. But so I do or I don't have to wear a mask?
That's all that matters.
Just put your money in the stock market. That's the only thing I've learned.
Because it only goes up?
It just only goes up.
Yeah. What do you do, like, for our listeners that are, like, if you have money in I want to say we are not advised, whatever the fucking warning is, don't take our advice seriously.
Yeah. I feel like Davey gives a lot of advice.
Yeah. You're right.
You bought Ford, it goes up.
You're right. What do you do? Like, do you pull out of the stock market? Do you pull? Like,
I don't know, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows?
Okay.
I'm not gonna pretend like I have the answers.
I have no idea.
Yeah. It just seems to me like we're facing a day where that thing that started in whenever that was. When was April? When did it really start to?
It got crushed in March, and then April was like. just the start of this uninterrupted rise.
So it just feels like a march is coming that doesn't stop so quickly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
and it's
stays-
just going to be the Fed will keep pumping money, and if the stock market continues to respond, flip a coin.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck out there, guys. Another sign of some problems is that the two biggest diamond miners, De Beers and one other, are really not selling diamonds. I mean, not a hot ticket item right now.
I mean, the sales have plunged 94%. So last quarter, diamond sales between De Beers and their rival Alrosa PGSC reported sales of 130 million. Last year, the same time, they did 2.1 billion.
Yikes.
I mean, just think
yikes.
about it. Like, okay, like who's really buying diamonds? People, like, you're not gifting like you are before. People aren't
Side
getting
pieces
engaged.
are side pieces getting.
Side pieces are, I think, getting the short end of the stick right now.
Yeah.
You know, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I think, you're hoping to keep your condo paid for.
Yeah, you're not getting gifts.
No. Those Birkins are slowing up.
And with no travel, the cheater can't even lie about where he's going.
Sure, you haven't seen daddy
Yeah.
in months.
Yeah.
Why is he going to buy you those diamonds?
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to do a deep dive. That could be a Netflix documentary.
Big time. There's
Which
like
one?
Like during the pandemic, what happened to billionaires,
And the
their
sugar
side
babies.
pieces,
Yeah.
their gifting, condo
I'm
arrangements.
telling you, it's like World War II. There's stories all over the world.
But we're
of what
talking
happened
about
behind
side pieces compared to
I wonder how side pieces were affected. There were side pieces in World War II.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg hasn't done that story.
Yeah. Okay. Last story. This is a good one to end on. We kind of slightly alluded to it earlier, but Twitter, the trash dump that is Twitter.
Yep.
They had like this massive, massive hack, which was already yesterday. Barack Obama, Elon Musk, Bill
You-
Gates.
you name it.
You name it. And the big hustle was send me Bitcoin. I will double whatever you send me and send it back to you. I'm feeling generous, Corona, all similar message. Barack even retweeted and said, I've already sent out $40,000. Hurry up. Which I'm guessing, I mean, these guys probably made some money.
Yeah.
But anyway, massive hack. Like I heard, I didn't look at this, but I heard like something, all the blue check marks were erased. You couldn't tweet if you were verified, whatever. I don't know. So huge, huge hack on Twitter. Jack Dorsey called it a tough day.
Ironically, stock basically unchanged on a down day. Nothing affects stock market.
So we
No,
actually
they
were,
only go up.
we were breaking this on behind closed doors live while we were recording yesterday.
Yeah.
And the story was happening real time. Now it's been 24 hours, so there's been more reporting about what happened. So effectively, a hacker group has compromised a Twitter employee because it's not like Barack Obama and Jeff Bezos' personal digital security was compromised. Twitter was compromised.
Yeah.
That's an important distinction.
Yep.
Because they compromised the Twitter employee that gave them access to effectively all these accounts. They changed the email address that was affiliated with the account so that they can just get full access to their Twitter feed. So there's not talk about conspiracy theories. The big one right now
Child
is
sex.
is the group I think only made like $120,000. That's the rumor.
It says more now, but not a lot of money.
Not millions.
Yeah.
That the whole point was it was either just not a sophisticated group and they were able to just do this and
Or they just wanted to just cause ruckus.
cause ruckus, get into everyone's DMs
Yeah.
and see what these people are doing, see if you can find some juicy stuff because we know people are in the DMs, not really in the Twitter DMs, but
Yeah.
journalists and stuff are DMing, not like influencers. So it's fascinating and it just shows like Twitter's just terribly run.
Yeah.
Is this a product of work from home and their security team couldn't patch this up? Because this started at like, I think noon?
That's the bigger problem. Not that it got compromised, but that it lasted so long.
Yeah, I mean, it was hours.
Hours. And they suspended everyone with the blue check mark for hours.
Yeah.
Like how?
Which I did enjoy as a non-blue check person.
No, but like,
Fuck those
I
elites.
think
I
it's
felt
just,
disgusting for those few hours.
but I mean, this is a fucking pretty bad like
Yeah.
thing. Twitter has to really look internally. Like, how did this happen? How do we allow it? Who got compromised?
Wonder how you compromise.
pay.
You think he just paid this?
Yeah. Because they got into trouble because they assume it's like Saudi CIA became Twitter employees and were getting the accounts of any dissenter of Saudi Arabia and identifying who these people were.
Oh, that already happened.
That already happened.
So it's not exactly the tightest ship over there.
Yeah.
And Jack Dorsey is just great at apologizing.
Oh, yeah, tough.
That's all he does with no solutions. Let's be
Okay.
very clear.
Yeah.
He's just apologizing.
I mean, he went on Rogan and did that whole press run like 8 months ago about we're working on it and we're blah, blah, blah. Nothing's happened.
like, I hear you.
Yeah.
Keep listening. I'm getting richer.
Yeah. My stock's not getting affected.
He's
Our
just
whole
listening.
system was
Square's fine. Square's
Yeah.
on fire. Cash App on fire.
Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Brutal. If it's as easy as just paying a freaking employee, and here you go.
And that's another thing. I talked about this on Behind Closed Doors. Like, there's God mode at these companies. Like, I've had friends at Uber that could tell me where my rides are, who I'm going to see. Like, that exists.
Like, I wonder what Apple does with iMessage. Like, they have to have a better system. Don't you think?
Yeah. You meaning like, how's a Apple employee not hacking everyone's iMessage?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Like it just seems like that should be treated like a bank vault.
Yes.
Like there should be multiple a nuclear code.
Yeah, like a Wells Fargo teller shouldn't be able to withdraw money from my account.
Yeah. Which maybe they can. Wells Fargo definitely can.
But Dee had a friend early in Facebook who was just going into everyone's profile.
Yeah, he would inside microphones
during
Just
the
for
peak
fun.
of the Olympics.
Just like everyone was in there.
Seeing the DMs, like the messages
There's
from
a lot
girls.
of that, I think. I think there's a lot of like.
This is like 2005 or something.
Yeah.
No, probably it was during the Olympics, right? So 2008 was the Beijing.
I think it was right before that when he
It
was like
on the rise.
yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of shenanigans going on. Okay. You ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
Winners, losers content. Who is the biggest winner for the last week?
My winner is Warren Buffett. So
I thought he
everyone
was a loser. I thought he just got passed by the young Elon.
So here's the interesting. Everyone called Warren washed. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's old. He's senile. He's sleepy.
I like that.
Warren.
Wasn't that mostly just Dave?
No, a lot of people in investing think Warren Buffett's not on the cutting edge. The couple of things that Warren Buffett, his mistakes, quote unquote, are he really didn't invest in technology early on. He kind of missed the entire technology wave.
Yep.
In March, when the airlines dipped, he dumped all of his airline positions, and then they rebounded a little bit.
Davey didn't do that.
Davey did not do that.
In this country, we fly.
Yeah. Warren Buffett, since March, has made $40 billion on his Apple shares. $40 billion. So, like, small investors are, like to poke and say, oh, you missed this, you missed that. He made $40 billion.
That has kind of always been his game.
And he's a long-term investor. And he exited his airline positions and pretty much said, like, I don't see travel going back to what they believe it's going to go back to. So for him, it didn't fit his mantra of investing. So he's, 2019, he bought his first stake in Amazon, which obviously is up insane as well.
Yeah.
He owns, I think, 5% of something like that crazy of Amazon. These old timers, as much as everyone likes to poke fun
Slow
and this and
and
that,
steady.
$40 billion since March is insane. We're in July. He made $40 billion.
He's
How
like
much money
Ballmer.
did you make?
Like Steve Ballmer quietly made $20 billion in the pandemic.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of hard to hate on. I don't think DTG Global
We need
is doing those numbers.
We
Maybe
need
a
it.
million
Like we need the rich version of the two Virgils. Like these guys just making $20 billion.
Yeah.
What is that? The two Buffets.
Yeah, 100%. Damn it, man. Yeah, okay. And meanwhile, he's eating fucking McDonald's and playing bridge.
Yeah.
Just watching the stock go through.
Up to the roof.
Okay, good for him. He is a winner. Anand?
So my winner of the week is Snapchat.
Oh, wow. Haven't heard that sort of
Because of their
sentiment since-
TikTok little thing.
And so forget the TikTok. TikTok's ultimately going to get banned in the U.S.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to be
You
a
would bet on that?
I would bet on it.
Yeah.
Just like I bet on Corona.
I
Bet
get
on
it,
this.
man.
When?
Okay, I get it.
What?
Didn't you feel like all the momentum? I mean, I know it could still happen, but like,
No,
what?
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I said
every
yesterday,
tech
too.
company that's U.S. domicile has lobbyists. Lobbyists are paid to influence
Right.
public officials and their decisions on these things. Whether it happens this week or in 2 months or 6 months, I don't know. But it's happening, or it's going to be forced to be sold to a U.S. company. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's not going to be the version. When you lose those Chinese engineers, you lose the magic.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
China.
I agree.
So, and I think Snap quietly is innovating. They have all these developers working on different products. And I didn't know this. They have the same number of users in developed countries as Instagram. Sure, they're not monetized the way Instagram is. I think they're just, like, talk about slow and steady. I think Snap is slowly, quietly working, and their user base is still massive. It's not churning out. And I think it's going to be a platform where we're going to be like, whoa, that stock just, whoa, Amazon, Snap?
Yeah. You could be right. I wouldn't go against you on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine is a 6-year-old named Bridger Walker. Bridger Walker, his story went viral on, I first saw it on Complex, but on Instagram, he saved his little sister from a dog attack.
Oh, yeah.
He looked insane with stitches, staples all up his face. Apparently, he said if he felt like someone should die, it should be him.
Wow.
He took the attack for his sister. And now he's getting, of course, reached out to by Captain America, Chris Evans, all these people, and they're sending him gifts. And I think the family even said, I believe, because people are asking about a GoFundMe, and they're saying if you want to send money, donate it to these 2 charities. But this little guy's just a freaking hero, and he looks sick. He looks like a movie
Can I tell you
character.
how cynical I am about the world when I saw that?
You were like, Epstein. What Epstein have to do with it?
No, I was like, the parents probably beat this kid. Because that's how, like, I have such low expectations for humanity.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's such an amazing story that this kid, like, I know the kid stood up to somebody.
To something.
Something. Definitely the kid is the hero, but to what?
They sick the dog on him for content?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I just, like...
Hey, it could be true.
I just have such low expectations. I remember the other thing with the young kid out of Australia who had some disability and how the parents were exploiting him.
Yeah, that was fake.
It's just, I just get skeptical.
Yeah, I think you have every right to. And I wouldn't check Twitter about the story, but I'm going to take it at face value and say we got a little hero on our hands. Right. And it's just, he's a winner all around.
Okay.
And that is one of the beautiful things about social media is, if it's true, these stories can get truly, like, that kid would have been like a local celebrity with his 5 aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
Now he's like, Chris Evans gets a hold of him. He's probably having the time of his life right now.
Good for him. He definitely deserves it.
You should reach out to him.
I don't think I really fall in the hero bucket. He's getting reached out to by superheroes.
Yeah.
I'm the guy from Rob and Big.
That's neither Rob or Big.
I'm the and. I'm the and.
And's reaching out to you. Ampersand.
Exactly. Okay, who's the loser?
My loser of the week is Goya Foods.
Yeah.
I think... the CEO went to the White House, endorsed President Trump. You could pick whatever you want. You can choose whatever you want. You can vote for whoever you want. It's a free country. Bad business decision.
Yep.
Now you got Ivanka Trump posting pictures with it. Donald Trump posting pictures with it. I think what he did at the White House would have gone away.
Yep.
And everyone would have forgotten, and they would have gone back to buying Goya Foods. This is rubbing it in people's faces.
Yep.
And is going to piss people off is fucking stupid.
Yep.
Just stupid. There aren't enough Latin people that like Trump that can keep that business alive.
Yeah. It's that stupid, arrogant behavior again, though.
Yeah.
I don't even think he thought about it from a business level. I think he thinks he's untouchable. This is what he believes. He went for it, and when people came at him, he doubled down.
Yeah.
Sometimes that same thing that can make you the head of Goya Foods can also make you a fucking asshole. Okay, good one. Anand?
We're losers.
Us? Personally?
The whole country.
Oh, yeah, Willie. Yeah. You're right. I was trying to think of some version of that for mine.
I mean, we can't... We're now re-shut down in Los Angeles.
Yep.
California had to shut down and pretty much everything that's non-essential.
Yep.
And outdoor dining, I guess, is the only thing that's still available. And you look around the world and life's seemingly back to normal. It's not what it was in January. Europe's... I mean, I had video friends in Saint-Tropez sending the craziest parties.
I mean, think about like how what's normal or what's more common is people in other countries seeing the events and stuff that we're doing here and being like, oh, that looks so fun. And now we're doing that,
Yes.
you know? Okay. Well, fuck us then, huh?
Yeah.
God damn it. Maybe next year. We'll try again next year, maybe.
2022 will be allowed back in society.
Yeah, that's true. If we're even just a shell of what we used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. My loser, I just want to give one more punch in the gut before the week's over, although I'm sure there'll be plenty more room for it next week and beyond, is Kanye West. I just think, first of all, somebody announced he was dropping out of the presidential race. Now he's back in. It's officially registered as the birthday party. He did register. It's just like, chill the fuck out. We have such real stuff going on here, and like your shenanigans. I don't know. I miss the Kanye that said George Bush doesn't care about black people, that caused a ruckus with the right intentions.
Yeah.
And now all of your ruckus is just getting in the way.
And the problem is,
And your last single sucks ass.
Whoa.
the problem is, similar to like a Davey.
Eric Deluxe walked in the room and he got a
That
chuckle
was
out of that
funny,
because I know no one is
not
asking
spinning
him
that
on his
song.
live streams to play that.
You're spinning it?
No, you're
Oh
not.
my God.
So
Eric Deluxe is canceled.
Eric Deluxe is canceled. Cancel him.
Because Travis is on it.
Yeah.
Wow, I gotta listen to it on a loudspeaker then.
I haven't even
guess I
listened
gotta
to
give
it.
him more of a chance.
I'll cancel
But it's similar to what we say about Davey Day Trader and Joe Rogan. Kanye has a direct relationship with his fans that he's uncancelable.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest difference is like Portnoy knows he's a comedy sketch.
Yep.
And Joe Rogan, I don't think is that controversial, to be honest. I've listened to enough of his.
And I
He has
just wanna
strong
argue,
opinions.
I think even there's part of Trump that when he goes to bed at night knows he's doing fuckery.
Yeah. And Kanye has his fans that are so loyal and cult-like.
Yeah.
They believe he's real. Chance the Rapper thought he was running for president.
And he believes he's real. That's the problem. The problem is I don't think Kanye goes to bed at night and thinks like, oh, I got him with this one.
Yeah.
Like, I think he thinks he's the greatest thing to touch this earth and he can and should be president.
And that's what's dangerous because it doesn't affect his pocketbooks. His clothes and his shoes still sell. He has probably a Gap deal that's going to exceed $1 billion when all's said and done.
Yeah. Yeah, no reason to change.
Yeah.
Why would you?
Have some responsibility. Same reason I think Facebook and Twitter have societal responsibilities at this point and not just keep maximizing profits by ruining the country.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just disappointing.
Okay. Let's do a quick round of content recommendations and wrap her up.
Okay, my content recommendation of the week is a lovely movie on Hulu called Palm Springs. Unfucking believable.
Who's in it?
Andy Samberg.
Okay.
It is a modern version of Groundhog Day,
Okay.
but a Palm Springs wedding.
Okay.
It is.
It seems really fucking iffy, but
I'm telling you, like I was watching it and my wife was next to me. She wasn't really paying attention. I was literally laughing out loud, like crying, laughing. It was so funny.
Oh my God.
I do believe he thinks it's as funny as
I do.
he just described, but
I
it
do.
doesn't mean the rest of us will.
I think
agree.
people are going to love this movie.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm locking it up. Comedy movie of the year right now. Oscar winning.
Is it a
comedy
Hulu,
movie.
like a Hulu original?
Yeah.
Hulu?
Maybe the pandemic will finally cancel the Oscars. Finally.
They'll probably find a vaccine the week before.
When is the Oscars?
Feb, right?
Cancel that shit. It'll be, a Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, Anand, what do you got?
We talked about it at length, but Get Me Roger Stone.
Yes.
And I finally watched it. I posted it on Instagram. I was finally doing my homework.
Yep.
It's just crazy how we got to where we are. And it's effectively Roger Ailes and Roger Stone.
Yep.
Two people woke up this sleeping beast that existed in this country and we're paying for it.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, if you want to have a wild night, quarantine edition, just make some time and watch Loudest Voice. Okay, couldn't do this all in one night, but watch Loudest Voice and Get Me Roger Stone.
Yeah.
And to anyone listening, it'll blow your fucking mind.
Yeah.
It's this sleeping giant that existed that they knew how to wake up.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Okay, mine is, I want to actually thank Anand for mine because I owned it this whole time, but I finally read The Inner Game of Tennis.
Oh, nice.
It's a great book. It's only like 120 pages, really easy to read.
What is that about?
So it's
Tennis? You bring a book about tennis?
That's
Well,
the
let me just
misconception.
say, I'll
That's
see you
a
on the
terrible
court.
title.
It's
It's
I would
about
just skip
tennis.
right over it.
It's about tennis, but how you can learn this lesson in tennis, which also applies to your life.
a lot of people say it's the greatest business book, period, and it's changed a lot of people's lives.
It's about
I think-
tennis.
It's about the
I hate you.
Why do you call it this? It's called The Inner Game of Business.
It's about tennis. The guy was a tennis player that learned these
With
lessons.
Andre Agassi? Is he good at tennis?
All right, we'll see you Monday. Lessons he learned while playing tennis that can apply to real life.
But
I
was
would
he
say-
good at tennis?
Yeah, he was a Harvard team captain.
Harvard?
Yeah.
They didn't win any national
He wasn't
titles.
a pro. He wasn't a pro, but he was a
Okay,
coach
he
and whatever.
sucked at tennis, so he's good at business.
He's good at
Naked.
life. I would say it's a really good book. I would say everyone should read it. I would say it's probably changed a lot of people's lives.
I mean, he gets called in to talk to sports locker rooms. The Seahawks, Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
him come.
Pete Carroll raves about it.
Yeah.
If he was good at tennis, I would read it.
No, Pete Carroll's got two national
I
titles
don't
and a
think
Super
it has
Bowl.
anything to do with that book.
Is your movie about Palm Springs? I've been to Palm Springs. Not that special.
You love Palm Springs.
I don't even like
You
Palm
love
Springs.
Palm
I don't
Springs.
even fucking
You
really like
liar.
Palm Springs.
You liar.
We've
You
all
love
been to Palm Springs, right? You need to watch a fucking
We've been
movie
there.
about
Why
it.
do we
Let me
watch a
tell you,
2-hour fucking
when we
movie?
were in Palm Springs, do we not laugh and have a good time?
I've been
Do
there in
we not
real life.
laugh
Why
and
do
have
I
a
need
good
to watch
time?
the movie? I've been there.
Don't you want to reminisce? Have a pool floaty?
Oh, I love a good pool floaty. in
That's
Palm
what half the movie's about. a
Well, you
pool
like
floaty.
tennis, so read the fucking book.
If he was good, I would.
He was decent.
I gotta see a video of him playing tennis.
Well, he's old now. He's 80.
He's just gonna
80?
keep doing this.
He's 80. He came up with this 30 years ago.
All right, we gotta go.
All right,
this
we're
is gonna
out of
go
here,
all
man.
day,
We gotta get to our next thing.
Okay.
Guys, we'll see you on Friday. You know what to do. We'll see you on Monday. You know what to do. Just follow us on Instagram. You know where it is. Leave us reviews. You know how to do that. And fucking subscribe to our newsletter. And you know where to see all of our articles. Stop acting brand new.
MelroseStreetJournal.com.
Yeah, sorry.
And whatever stupid podcast Pete has.
Oh, yeah, behind closed doors. Yeah.
No, never mind. Don't even go look at it.
And Modern Prescription on all platforms. Okay, thank you. We're out.